Hey, it's Matt, your average gamer, and for this video, we're going to be going over 9 more fun and OP builds for Elden Ring. These are a mix of, some of these are just pure fun, some of them do a lot of damage. We're going to start here with Death's Poker and a Sword of Milos combo. This is a really cool combination because they actually have a dual moveset together, but we're going to be using the debuff on the Sword of Milos and then switching back to Death's Poker, and of course adding in Terra Magica to get insignificant damage. And since this video is posted on Easter, I want to say happy Easter to everybody. Happy 420, happy holidays. This should be an awesome video for you guys if you're still playing Elden Ring. If you're checking out the first Berserker Khazan, I want to make a note of that real quick. I've been making content for that game too. It's been fantastic. And then I'm going to be covering Night Rain when that comes out as well. Alright, back to the build. The basics here are simple. The debuff on the Sword of Milos will allow you to do more damage to the bosses. Terra Magica, when you add in, boost pure magic damage, which of course Death's Poker's Ash of War is entirely pure magic damage. And then we have Death Ritual Spear as our backup weapon too for some range. Let's jump into equipment. And we have Death's Poker. We have the Staff of Loss for Terra Magica, Death Ritual Spear. We have any seal for buffs. We have the Sword of Milos, of course, part of the Rakshasa set, and the Great Bird chest piece on. We have the Shard of Alexander Talisman, Magic Scorpion Charm, Claw Talisman, Arsenal Charms +1 or Great Jar's Arsenal if you have it. This adds up to a lot of weight. Magic tier, Faith tier. Let's jump into stats. And for stats on this one, we have 55 Vigor, 22 Mind, 33 Endurance, 15 Strength, 20 Dexterity. We have 60 Intelligence, 15 Faith. We're using Golden Vow, Blessing Spoon, Terra Magica, and Glintstone Icecrag. And the next one we have for you is the Ancient Meteoric or Greatsword. I haven't looked at this weapon in a long time. Covered it when DLC came out, of course. It's a really fun weapon. I built around it pretty well here. We're able to get pretty good damage. And of course, I'm going to be building around the charge attacks a bit too. Now, Astel's not the best boss to take on with this weapon because for the most part, you typically have to hit his head. His body is fairly resistant to pretty much anything, and it is a little bit difficult to line up your attacks on his head every time. With that said, this does pretty good damage and pretty good poise damage to most bosses, and all around is a very good weapon. The aesthetics of the Ash of War are pretty cool looking too. Now, it's going to do a little bit of magic damage on the Ash of War and a lot of physical damage. This weapon in general does a lot of physical damage. There's not a ton of point in boosting your magic damage a ton because the magic scaling it on is relatively low and actually scales with Arcane, much like Mariah's Executioner's Sword. Kind of has the same setup there. So you're not going to worry too much about boosting the magic damage. Instead, boost the Ash of War, boost charge attacks. It is, after all, a very bonk weapon, and it has some pretty solid AR as well. I believe you'll really like using this weapon. If you haven't tried this one out from the DLC, definitely try out this weapon. It is a ton of fun to use, and honestly, I think it's one of my favorite weapons because it just looks so cool. I love the armor set that we're running with it too. I'll go over that in equipment. Yeah, this is definitely one to check out if you haven't yet. Certainly a cool weapon and one of the cooler additions to DLC. I still wish a lot of the DLC weapons did more damage. I still feel like they owe us some balancing patches for a couple of them because there were a lot of weapons that were just okay, but this is one of the better ones from DLC. We have the Ancient Meteoric or Greatsword +10 preferably, Dragon Communion Seal. You can check out our armor set here. That's the armor set I was running. I really like that one. Shard of Alexander, Two-Handed Sword Talisman, Axe Talisman, Arsenal Charms +1 or Great Jar's Arsenal if you have it, Blood-Sucking Correct tier, Spike Correct tier. Let's jump into stats. And for stats, we have 55 Vigor, 18 Mind, 30 Endurance, 40 Strength. That's going to be 60 when you two-hand this, 40 Arcane, 25 Faith. We are using Golden Vow, Flame Grant Me Strength, and Blessing's Boon. And the next one up here we have is the Nox Flowing Sword. Now, this has Flowing Form as its Ash of War. It's just okay. This one isn't too great, so I'm going to use it with the Dancing Blade of Rana, and of course we're going to be doing a couple jump attacks, building up on successive hits, and then we can kind of use the Ash of War when you feel like it for a significant amount of damage. It's not insane though. It's going to do anywhere from 1500 to 2000 damage to most bosses. It's not one of the most powerful weapons in the game by any means. It's kind of just okay, but it does well with jump attacks and mixing in the Ash of War. It could also stun regular enemies. Jump into equipment. We have the Nox Flowing Sword and the Dancing Blade of Rana. We have any seal for buffs. We have the Great Bird chest piece, part of the Rakshasa set on hit 51 poise. Shard of Alexander, Wing Sword Insignia or Rotten Wing Sword Insignia is better if you have it. Claw Talisman, Millicent's Prosthesis, and then we're using the Faith tier and Thorny tier for this one. Let's jump into stats. And for stats, we have 60 Vigor, 16 Mind, 25 Endurance, 20 Strength, 80 Dexterity, 25 Faith with the Faith tier, and then we're using Golden Vow, Blessing's Boon, and Flame Grant Me Strength as our buffs as well. And the next one up here we have is for the Scorpion Stinger in combination with the Reduvia. These work well together. You can get bleed buildup, rot buildup, etc. Now, the Scorpion Stinger with repeating thrust, you're stuck with that Ash of War. It doesn't do as much rot buildup as I would like. That's the one downside, I'd say, disappointing point to it. Because at 50 rot, it should, you'd think, with repeating thrust, build up significantly fast. I mean, every one should be around, like, I don't know, 200 or so. But it just doesn't feel like that. It seems to be less. With that said, you can still get rot procs with it. Of course, it goes well with the Reduvia, and they have a dual move set as well. And then you could switch back to the Reduvia's Ash of War with Bloodblade and absolutely shred and get a ton of bleed build up that way too. I should mention the majority of these builds are build requests from my last couple of videos. If you have any build requests or any weapons I haven't covered you'd like to see turned into builds, be sure to comment below. Definitely comment them below so I know what to make next for you guys. I really enjoy doing the build requests. They're a lot of fun. This video, I think 7 of them were build requests and then 2 of them were random. But overall, it ended up being a lot of fun. And it was a good time jumping back on Elden Ring, which actually felt a little bit easier compared to the first Berserker Khazan. That game's absolutely insane. It's been crazy, the level of difficulty there. It's much like Sekiro. Anyways, you can't be as OP as you can in, say, Elden Ring. Let's jump into equipment in a second here. Stats, everything you need to know for a Scorpion Stinger and Reduvia build. This is a really good one. Let's jump into equipment. And we have the Scorpion Stinger plus 10 preferably, same for the Reduvia. We have the Dragon Communion Seal mainly for buffs. You can check out our armor set here. We have the white mask on, of course. Shard of Alexander, Lord of Blood's Exaltation. We have Kindred of Rot's Exaltation, Millicent's Prosthesis. And then we have the Bloodsucking Crack tier, Thorny tier. We were using Moog's Shackle there to stun the boss. Let's jump into stats. And for stats, we have 55 Vigor, 18 Mind, 27 Endurance, 15 Strength, 40 Dexterity, 45 Arcane. We're using Golden Vow, Flame Grant Me Strength, and of course, Blessing's Boon too. And next up here, we have the Smithscript Warrior build. It's going to use 2 different Smithscript weapons. And this is a really cool one using the Smithscript Axe as well as the Dagger. It's a cool combination build in which we can take out the Axe first and use it with Spinning Weapon for some Frost build-up, and also throw it for additional Frost build-up. We will get a Frost proc here as well. It doesn't do a ton of damage on the throws with the Smithscript weapons. They're not phenomenal for that, but they do status build-up from a range, which is pretty cool. There's the Frost proc there, Frost proc. And now we're going to go back to the Dagger, and this will give us a lot of bleed build-up with Scatter Shot throw. It's got really good range too, and continues to build up bleed. Even if they're just clipped with it, it does a pretty good amount of bleed on this. There's another blood proc there. It went down for a posture break, but it didn't really matter in the end because he was pretty much done anyway. But ultimately, this is a pretty cool weapon for the Smithscript ones. I know a couple people have been looking for builds for them. They're just okay, to be honest, but you can make the best out of status build-up. We have the Cold Smithscript Axe plus 25, preferably with Spinning Weapon. We have the Smithscript Dagger plus 25, preferably with Scattershot Throw. Any seal for buffs, you can check out our armor set here. And we have the Shard of Alexander. We have Lord of Blood's Exaltation. Then we have the Smithing Talisman. We have the Ritual Swords Talisman. And then we have the Green Burst Crystal tier, Faith tier, and then we're using Sleeping Pots there. Let's jump into stats. And for stats on this build, we have 55 Vigor, 20 Mind, 28 Endurance, 25 Strength, 30 Dexterity, 45 Arcane, and 25 Faith. We hit 51 Poise. We are using Golden Vow, Blessing's Boon, and of course, Flame Grant Me Strength too. And next up here, we have a build for Rosus Axe. A couple people asked for this one as well. I haven't really covered this weapon in a very, very long time. The Ash of War is really cool. There's not a ton you can do with it in terms of boosting the damage. You're pretty much going to have to split yourself between Strength and Intelligence. The Intelligence part is obviously the second part of the Ash of War, as well as the Strength part being the first part of the Ash of War where you'll get your physical damage from. Overall, it's a weapon that's very good when it's split evenly between the two. Now, on a high intelligence build, you could still get decent damage out of it, but I like getting the physical damage with the axe. You can see the jump attack, regular hits, etc. It's actually not bad for that. Gets decent AR overall. I think we have around 700 and something with it. Let's jump into equipment. And for equipment, we have Rosus Axe plus 10. We have any seal for buffs. We have part of the Rakshasa set on and a random chest piece. We have 51 Poise. Shard of Alexander. We have the Magic Scorpion Charm. Ritual Swords Talisman. Of course, if you stay at full HP, it's really good for this. Two-handed sword talisman for any regular hits, jump attacks, etc. Magic tier, Faith tier. Let's jump into stats. And for stats on this one, we have 55 Vigor, 20 Mind, 28 Endurance, 50 Strength. That's going to be 75 when you two-hand this. 40 Intelligence, 25 faith. And of course, for our buffs, we're only using Golden Vow for this one. I didn't go too crazy here. Now on to the 3 most powerful ones. For this, we have a Giant Crusher Roar build using Braggart's Roar. By the way, I forgot to mention, this is all footage. All the footage for the video is on Journey 4, if you were curious, New Game Plus 3. So for this one, we're going to use Braggart's Roar first. I usually use this build with Guts, but it's actually phenomenal with the Giant Crusher as well. A couple people asked about the Giant Crusher again. Decided to do a build with it for Roars. It does build up a lot of bleed there. There you get a bleed proc right there, of course, because we're using it in Blood Affinity. And then you have the status effect multiplier on Roars. And of course, your regular jump attacks, hits, etc. will be really good. Solid strength scaling and Blood Affinity, by the way, with an A. And overall, just an absolute smasher build. Wish we could have got the finisher hit in there. Overall, though, this is a pretty good one. I like this one with Guts generally because it has a lot of range and such, but it goes well with the Giant Crusher too, and it can hit really hard and do a lot of bleed build-up. Let's jump into equipment, stats, everything you need to know for this build. And we have the Giant Crusher and Blood Affinity with Braggart's Roar. We have the Dragon Communion Seal, any seal for buffs really here. You can check out our armor set here. We did hit 51 poise, and we have a medium equipment load. We have Roar Medallion, Two-Handed Sword Talisman, Axe Talisman. We have Lord of Blood's Exaltation, and then we have the Spike Cracks here and Faith here. You can add in the White Mask. I just wasn't feeling the White Mask with the Giant Crusher combo. I didn't like the way it looked. I don't know. I just felt like it's a little overused. I use it a lot too. 55 Vigor, 17 Mind, 36 Endurance, 40 Strength, 60 when you two-hand this, 45 Arcane, Golden Vow, Flame Grip Strength, Blessing Spoon. And now down to the last 2, we have a build for a Holy Katana. This was another build request. We, of course, added in Black Blade. I'm going to use one of the Crucible incantations too, which isn't the best. They really aren't that great overall. I wish they were better. They still need a buff in my opinion, but they are fun to use and add into the build. Black Blade, multi-layered Ring of Light, and then we'll be using one Crucible incantation here in a second. It makes it for a good combination build, a good holy damaging build overall. And of course our Katana is in Sacred Affinity with Sacred Blade. We've got a high damage Great Katana that of course does a lot of holy damage, which is great for DLC. There it is there. We used aspects of the Crucible Bloom, and it ends up doing a total of 11,000 damage to this dragon, so not too bad there. And then we threw in multi-layered Ring of Light. I did end up getting hit, and then we're going to finish this dragon off with the Katana. Overall, this is a fun Paladin-like build. I think the frames dropped a couple times during this fight, so apologies there. I didn't realize that when I grabbed this clip. Anyways, fighting this dragon, it's always fun because he's weak to holy damage. But yeah, there's a lot of these. There's like 3 of these in DLC, and they're not too bad to take down if you have holy damage. And back to Sacred Blade and the Katana. Of course, I tried to use the Crucible incantation again. Didn't land as well there. We ended up finishing off with multi-layered Ring of Light. Overall, you're going to be able to throw in a whole bunch of incantations and a good amount of damage with the Katana and Sacred Affinity with Sacred Blade. Let's jump into equipment. And we have the Great Katana and Sacred Affinity with Sacred Blade on it. We have the Erdtree seal, of course. You can check out our armor set here. It makes for a decent-looking Paladin Knight kind of deal there. Shard of Alexander, Sacred Scorpion Charm, Godfrey Icon for any chargeable incantations. We have Maleficent's Prosthesis, of course, for our Katana. And then we have the Holy tier, Blood-Sucking Crack tier. Let's jump into stats. And for stats, we have 60 Vigor, 20 Mind, 26 Endurance, 15 Strength, 25 Dexterity, 70 Faith, so you got a lot of versatility here. Our buffs are just Golden Vow and Blessings of the Erdtree, no body buff here, and we went over the incantations. And lastly on here, we have a Flame Art Katana build. This is one of the random builds on here, and this is an absolute awesome one. We're using Fire's Deadly Sin. We're going to be using the Great Katana with Flaming Strike. So we got fire going on our body here. We got fire on our sword. It's pretty much an all-fire build. And then we have Burno Flame on top of that to do massive damage. Overall, this is a really good one. I'll mention at the end, I didn't have the Claw Talisman equipped. Normally, I would go in and do regular hits. With this boss, though, I tend to have difficulty with this moveset, so I ended up doing more jump attacks than usual to kind of get in a poise break. With that said, the Claw Talisman would fit here well. We'll go over equipment later. It's definitely one you could add for sure. And also the Grave Bird or Raptor's Black Feathers. There we get in our posture break. We're going to go in for a hit here, and then we're going to use Burno Flame to see how much damage we get out of that. We're going to try to charge that here, and we end up with a total of 14,000 damage. Not too bad. He has basically no HP. Probably should have went down, but he wants to fight at the end here, of course. His moveset is very erratic for the Divine Beast, but there it goes. He's finished off. That would have done 7,000 damage on the Flaming Strike hit there. This is a really cool one if you like fire builds that are completely, I mean, our character's ablaze, our sword is too. This is definitely a fun one. Let's jump into equipment and stats. Probably my favorite one on here. Flame Mart, Great Katana, plus 25 with Flaming Strike. We have Giant Seal, of course. You can check out our armor set here. I like this one. I feel like it fits this build well. I like this armor set in general. Shard of Alexander, Fire Scorpion Charm, Godfrey Icon for Burn of Flame, of course, Millicent's Prosthesis, and then we have the Bloodsucking Crack Tier, Flame Tier. Now, you can replace Millicent's Prosthesis with the Claw Talisman if you're going to do as many jump attacks as I was doing. 60 Vigor, 20 Mind, 26 Endurance, 25 Dexterity, 70 Faith. We're using Golden Vow, Blessings of the Erdtree, Fire's Deadly Sin, and Burn of Flame. And thanks for watching this one. Thanks for tuning into my top 9 fun and OP builds. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to hit the sub button. And of course, make sure you have the bell notification on so you know when I post. I post a lot on Sundays and weekends. I will add in my last first Berserker Khazan video in the description as well if you want to check that out. Or check that game out in general. Just check out some videos they've done for that. It's a pretty cool game. It's been very, very challenging. I hope everybody has a fantastic Easter and happy 420. I will catch you in the next video.